The Australian Classification Board is an independent statutory body established under the Classification, Publication, Films and Computer Games Act of 1995. It acts independently of both federal and state government to classify media available for exhibition, sale or hire in Australia. This video explores the role of the Australian Classification Board in regulating online content. To properly explore the Classification Board's role, three main topics will be covered, including the regulation of online complaints in Australia, how content is rated in Australia, and how online content is rated in Australia. How is online content regulated in Australia? Unlike other forms of media that are rated under Australia's classification scheme, online content is only classified when complaints from the public are received. These complaints are not lodged with the Australian Classification Board, but with the Office of the Children's E-Safety Commissioner. The Broadcasting Services Act of 1992 splits complaints about online content into two categories: internationally hosted content, covered under Schedule 5, and content hosted in Australia, which is covered under Schedule 7. Both schedules allow for members of the public to lodge complaints with the E-Safety Commissioner for prohibited or potentially prohibited online content. For the E-Safety Commissioner to take action against the content, it must be classified as prohibited content. Whether content is prohibited is dependent upon the rating provided to the content by the Classification Board. As such, the E-Safety Commissioner must apply to the Classification Board to have potentially prohibited content rated. The Classification Board rates content according to the National Classification Code of May 2005. The code seeks to ensure that adults can access media they are interested in, while balancing the need to protect children and individuals from content they may find offensive. The Classification Board will rate every film, computer game, and some publications, dependent upon exemptions, before they're released to the Australian public. It does not rate television broadcasts, live performances, or audio CDs. Media of these classifiable media types will be rated into one of the classification levels, which differ based on the type of media. Each of these classifications is accompanied by a general rating. This rating shows the general themes of the work that cause the particular classification rating. The code sets out factors associated with each classification level for each type of media. In rating content, the Classification Board considers the importance of context, the content's impact, and 6 classifiable elements of drug use, language, nudity, themes, sex, and violence. If classified, media can be exhibited, sold, and hired to the Australian public. Content that is gravely offensive will be refused classification and is banned from exhibition, sale, and hiring. Online content is rated by the Australian Classification Board under the same National Classification Code that film, computer games, and eligible publications are. To be rated by this system, the Australian Classification Board must determine whether online content conforms to one of the eligible media types. Media that contains content from a film or computer game will be classified in its respective media type. If content does not consist of a film, computer game, or eligible publication, then it is assessed as a film under Clause 25. Once the Classification Board has rated the content, the E-Safety Commissioner can determine whether the content constitutes prohibited content and take appropriate action under the Broadcasting Services Act of 1995 to have the content removed or inaccessible to Australian residents. In summary, the Australian Classification Board does not directly hear complaints about online content. Its role is limited to assessing online content upon application from the Office of the Children's E-Safety Commissioner, the body that receives complaints and appropriately deals with content once the Classification Board has provided a rating.
Created using Powtoon.